Nostalgia is rooted in our society. It's like a plague. Or is it a gift? That's what I want to talk about today. You see, nostalgia is a longing for the past. It can fill us with uncontrollable joy or sadness, depending on the memory. But when it comes to our favorite shows and movies, we start to become more defensive. If someone said something bad about The Incredibles, my initial reaction would be defensive, because I have a lot of fond memories associated with it. It's not a you problem for disliking it, it's a me problem because I can't handle the criticism. Herein lies the problem. Our nostalgic memories can get the best of us. When they do, we no longer are able to see our favorite shows and movies as such. We're avoidant of their problems. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender as much as the next person, but it does have its fair share of problems. The Fire Nation's plans for world domination are quite flawed. Using a giant drill to invade Ba Sing Se is just plain stupid. I honestly blame this guy for coming up with it. But that's just one example of questionable writing decisions in a show that's deemed as a masterpiece. What I'm getting at here is due to nostalgia, we start to blindly worship what gives us comfort. In other words, we lose the ability to study it and look past the comfort it provides. We're stuck chasing that feeling we had when we first experienced it. And we as humans never seem like we want to escape from nostalgia's grasp, for it brings a great deal of happiness, but also hardship. Now, that being said, having a comfort show isn't a bad thing. Sometimes we need a little rest and relaxation to rejuvenate our senses. I know when it's time for me to unwind in my day, I look to shows that I've watched before. The Golden Girls, Bob's Burgers, Seinfeld, to name a few. All of them are lighthearted, so I don't really have to pay attention. If I fall asleep while watching, I fall asleep while watching. There's no penalty for doing so. Unlike other shows like Westworld or Succession, you take a nap during those and you're gonna be awfully confused when you wake up. The point that I'm trying to make is that comfort shows are fine and a healthy part of life, if it's not the sole thing you watch. Remember, everything is better in moderation. If you're like Wanda in WandaVision and you use your love of sitcoms to brainwash a whole town to make you feel better, or more like avoid dealing with your grief, then we have a problem. Comfort is a lovely thing, and it can help us cope with issues that arise in our lives. But a comfort zone is still a comfort zone. There's a reason why people advise us to step outside of it. Our comfort zones are like little apartments. You can dress them up, add some curtains, maybe a rug, maybe a vase full of flowers, whatever fits your fancy. We make a home in our comfort zone, and we want to settle there. So we do the same activities we always do. We eat the same types of foods. And most importantly, for the sake of this video, we watch the same types of shows, never experiencing other genres. And I'm not saying this to judge you or to call you out. I'm mainly taking a dig at myself and what I've experienced throughout my life thus far. I know that I'm not the type of person who likes to adventure out and experience new things. And maybe some of you out there are like that as well. It's okay, because if you're aware of it, you can change the behavior. Now, when we have specific genres, whether it be comedy or a western, horror, whatever it is, it narrows our perspective to what we want to see rather than what's there. For example, if the only thing you watch is Disney movies, you're going to want to look at life with a happy-go-lucky attitude. You see the world as the glass is half full, but sometimes tragedy occurs, and approaching a situation with toxic positivity isn't really gonna get you very far. Look at a character like Mr. Peanut Butter, who hides behind a wall of optimism. Being stuck in the same old patterns doesn't lead to better understanding. It just pushes you deeper into your shell. I think that's why so many people get angry about Disney remakes. We become defensive and a little sad that we are indeed getting older. Nostalgia is a longing for a time we once lived. It's a wish for brighter days when life was easier, where we were all younger and more naive to the world. And it's okay to long for the days of yesteryear, but we don't have to dampen the ride for others. These Disney remakes, quite frankly, remakes in general, get a lot of flack for tainting the good name of the original, or the version that you grew up with. We shake our fists with rage that a company would remake such a classic, chalking it up to companies being greedy for doing so. How dare they soil the good name of the original? But in reality, this is just marketing 101, appealing to your audience. It's why music today has the same 80s beat. And when we look at fashion, it is the backbone of that industry. Nostalgia is a pinnacle part of business, making it a major part of our daily lives. Only becomes a problem when remakes or reboots are involved. Why? Because it's not the original work? Tell me this then. When you were younger, would you rather have watched a brand new movie that just was released or a black and white movie from the 1950s? Chances are you probably picked the former because it closely aligns with your generation. Listen, I did the same thing when I was younger. I preferred watching something like The Lion King over Bambi any day of the week. Put it simply, because it was newer. That is the same logic that kids have today. A 6-year-old would rather watch the Lion King remake over the original. For us 90s and 2000s kids, that deeply upsets us because it conflicts with our own memories. We become defensive, acting like a grumpy old man wanting a bunch of kids to get off his lawn. And we have this assumption that the remakes are for us, when they aren't. They shouldn't be. They were made to inspire a younger generation, to make them feel like how we did when we watched our first Disney movie all those years ago. If we tell kids they're dumb for liking the new version, we're only adding to the rift between generations, instead of forming trust and connection. I'll be frank, I'm not a big fan of remakes today. Don't even get me started with this new Wicked movie. I don't understand why Glinda's bubble dress is pink. It should be blue, but you know, that is a topic for another day. Films today just aren't my cup of tea. Now that doesn't mean I'm gonna be a wet blanket on those that enjoy these newer, shinier versions to things. Honestly, who am I to judge? I guess that's what we need to understand, that the films and shows we grew up with are still there. We can watch them at any time, but don't let those comforting emotions make you defensive over it. Learn to embrace the memories of the past, but don't let yourself get stuck in them. Nostalgia is like a roller coaster, where we ride the highest highs and the lowest lows. If we let nostalgia dictate our lives, we're not going to get very far. It's okay to yearn for simpler times, but don't let it taint new experiences. Well, that's all I gotta say about that. This is something that I've been pondering for a while. If it helped you gain a new perspective, then I'm glad I could assist you. Anyways, I'm gonna stop prattling because I want to hear your thoughts on the subject. Do you think that nostalgia is a gift, or do you think it's a curse? Or maybe it's a little bit of both. Let me know in the comments down below. And if this philosophical chat was your cup of tea, you might like this one about movie reviews, so click on that one right over here. I guess I'll see you when I see you next. All right,